Michael Kerschbaumer has been up since 3 a.m. This morning, he's already been to 90 dairy farms. He uses this hose to pump fresh milk from vats into his truck.
This is from last night and this morning. There are big and small vats. The largest holds 2,500 litres.
This farmer has produced 320 litres of milk. That's worth almost 140 euros. Good business for Austrian dairy farmers north of the Brenner Pass. They're lucky. Their organic milk is in high demand just across the border in Italy's South Tyrol region. Italian creameries are willing to pay good money for their product.
The quality of our milk is better because our dairy farms are smaller than the Italian ones.
But this lucrative trade is under threat because Austria wants to reinstate border checks on the Brenner Pass. Austrian dairy farmers are worried that will bring traffic jams, long waits, and a border that becomes increasingly impassable.
I don't understand why they want to reinstate checks on the Brenner Pass. To have any effect, they would have to check all the borders. Monitoring only the Brenner Pass won't make a difference, but it will make it much harder to ferry milk back and forth. That will be tough for us.
We join Michael Kerschbaumer on the Brenner Pass. Today there are no checks and no delays. The border post is still under construction.
They're building over there. They might be planning to put a border post there. You can already see the construction site between the lanes.
The border checks are supposed to deter asylum seekers. Kerschbaumer supports this. He believes Europe is taking in too many refugees. Italians, meanwhile, are outraged by the prospect of checks at the Brenner Pass. Sabine Drescher lives in South Tyrol. She says free movement has boosted prosperity. And, like her father, she believes border controls will only lead to more chaos.
I'm more worried about how the people from further south will be treated. What will happen to people who won't be allowed to apply for asylum? Will they set up a refugee camp on the border? What are those people supposed to do?
Sabina lives near the Italian city of Bolzano. She attends university in the Austrian city of Innsbruck.
I'm not used to border controls. I can't imagine suddenly having a fence blocking the Brenner Pass.
Her father shows how, for decades, the German-speaking population of South Tyrol used to reject the border between Italy and Austria. And when Italy wanted to toughen border checks, that sparked violent protests.
Many fought to abolish the border, and ultimately it was. If controls are reinstated now in a different context, politically and historically, that will be very strange.
Roman Drescher says Austria thinks Italy just wants to encourage its asylum seekers to continue their way northward.
I suspect Austria's announcement that it plans to reinstate border controls at the Brenner Pass is already putting a lot of pressure on Italy.
Sabine Drescher begins her week by taking the train from Bolzano to Innsbruck via the Brenner Pass. Here at the platform, Italian security forces are already in place. Italy doesn't want to leave Austria in sole control of the border. Sabina says that it's likely her commute to university will be more difficult in future.
If there are more checks, I will have to switch trains at the pass. And then I'll get checked again. It would cost me half a day.
Half a day for a train journey that should only take 2 hours, according to the schedule. Meanwhile, Michael Kerschbaumer has reached the creamery in Sterzing. So far, shuttling milk from Austria to Italy remains easy enough. But he says border checks will hurt the dairy trade. And they'll do nothing to solve the refugee crisis.
You've got to solve the refugee crisis at its root, not in Europe. Once they're here, it's usually too late.
When it comes to yogurt, Italians and Austrians work hand in hand, but not when it comes to refugee policies. Michael Kerschbaumer hopes that won't bring traffic at the Brenner Pass to a standstill.